How's it going, guys? Coffee here. Today I wanted to go over the refreshed Thundercloud Gemma build. So what you're going to want to be using here, what's changed from last time, pretty much at this point you can get +2 wands here for extremely cheap. Surging Inspiration is very inexpensive right now. This is about 10 FE. You're looking at a Sky Devourer chest for about 5. You can just turn this into just like a generic chest. This is just something I bought. Like, you're better off crafting a chest most likely, but if you want to just buy this and get right in there, you can go ahead and do that. For necklace, you're just going to buy a +1 lightning necklace base. It doesn't matter what it is. I paid like 3 FE for this. There's a bunch of them for 1, as you can see here. The most expensive pieces that you're going to find on this build are going to be these gloves for sure. Sage's Insight gloves are going to cost the most. This you can kind of do without these as well. Like if you want to just run these as marksman bracers or end up basically hitting your own bracers or something else, you can do that, but these are going to be like the first things you want to purchase. Outside of that, you just want to craft yourself a belt with resistances. As you can see, we're using so many legendary items that you're going to end up being really resistance starved. We are looking for a pair of boots of Synthfire here. I ended up finding a pair of these for like under 10 FE. I want to say they were exactly 10. I saved the items here in the purchase log so we can kind of see for what I purchased. You want to buy a Restless Glacier here. These are 3 to 5 FE. Frozen Lightning, this is going to be 1 FE. Glacier Caster Sealed, same thing, 3 to 4. And then buying a +1, a +2 to the Lightning Wraith Wand is 3 to 4 to 5 FE as well. Let's go look here and look at the log for what I ended up actually doing here, what I ended up actually having to purchase here. So Wraith Wand, I bought this 3 FE with just +2 lightning. I bought the necklace for 2. Stalker belt here I bought for 5. You can find something cheaper. I just specifically bought it with this T1 LE res mod. You can buy it with whatever resistance you want. It probably would have been better to just buy something with like tier 1 erosion resistance or something. The Sky Devourer armor I paid 2 FE. The boots I paid 5 FE. You can just buy these with the non-corrupted mod if these start to get expensive, depending on how many people start to play this build. Frozen Lightning 1. Restless Glacier I paid 10 FE. These have gotten even cheaper. I didn't even really look through all the pages to see what was available. I just tried to get one with a high value on this additional cold damage mod here. The highest value you can afford is pretty much what you want to go for. For your divinity slates, this is the other going to be like expensive mod, I guess you could say. It would be Impermanence. If you can get this, it's actually pretty cheap for a damage slate, but if you can get this, it will kind of give you a nice DPS boost here. Let's actually see what it shows here. I think this Close Range Fire might actually be worth getting as well, and this is probably really cheap. Okay, let's actually test this. Let me actually test this for you guys with Close Range Fire, because Impermanence here is, I want to say, like 40 FE, somewhere around there. So 35. But I think we can actually get away with using Close Range Fire for the build for people who are on a budget and want something cheap. This is something I actually just got as a drop, but let's go ahead and put this in here and let's test this and see if we can get similar damage. We should be able to get this because I believe it will count as close ranges all the way for the majority of the travel of the projectile here. This might even end up being more damage, to be honest. Depends. A lot of this really comes down to getting the spell burst charges off like at the perfect time here. The golem doesn't work very well either for... You are supposed to be getting focus charges on when you are freezing something, but because the golem doesn't allow you to freeze them, we don't end up getting any of the charges that we would normally have. So I mean, we can kind of simulate it by like swapping things on and off, but that doesn't work. So let's test. Looks like Impermanence is better, but Close Range Fire is not that much different, I don't believe. Here, double check. Let's go ahead and test this here. Yeah, Impermanence does end up adding up quite a bit here. A little bit extra just because of the extra max. on it, since our build is doing so much. It's converting everything to cold, but it still rolls it as lightning still, I believe. So we are relying on a lot of crits still. I believe there's probably still a perfect point here for stacking the sparkle. It's been a little while since I played this. I just wanted to update this build for people because I know that people were trying to use the version from last season, which isn't quite as good, and like what's cheap now and what isn't has kind of changed. So there's kind of some better options for people now. Yeah, so just get this close range fire one. In the meantime, this one's probably going to save you a lot of money. And then for the rest of your slates, you're pretty much just looking for +1 lightning skill. Slates, if you can get them on this, I don't even have perfect slates. I just kind of grabbed whatever I had here. You should be able to get +1 lightning slates, like really, really cheap though. Let's see what we got here. +1 lightning slate is... +1 lightning is 15 FE. So you can get these +1. You might even be cheaper to just buy a +1 lightning like normal slate. That's non-corroded or whatever, like non-corrupted, whatever. Either +1 spells or +1 lightning. I ended up just rolling a bunch of these. I was rolling them for something else. Yeah, we can go ahead and run these, and then if you want something like this, like damage after using mobility skills, since you're always teleporting around, you'll always be using a movement skill. I just happen to have this critical strikes can eliminate under 8% thing laying around. But realistically, you'd be better off running like a slate like this eventually once you get money, which is going to be this one that owns blessings, things like this, or like with some additional damage, things like that. That's going to be your better off thing. Or if you just want some extra defense, you can run something like this, which is like this energy shield regain mod, which, I mean, this thing's going to be basically free. Like this, there's no way this is going to be worth anything. You should be able to find this mod with just something that's fairly useful for your build. Relatively inexpensive. In regards to weapons, you can start off just using Spring Resurrections as usual, and then as you swap to using a actual crafted weapon, then you would want to change to using the shield here. But I mean, if you notice here, well, once we actually we have a little bit of mana issues because I took off a magical source for the shield, but the shield is cheap enough right now to just use the shield once you can. Just use magical source until then. I ended up swapping it off for, I believe, Steadfast or something right now. But as you can see here, we're still just running the same sparkle setup as before. Lightning to cold, cold strike, psychic burst, slow projectile, and high voltage. And then we are running Mana Boil with Well Fought Battle, Mania, and Mass Effect. These all work really well because of the fact that Mana Boil stays up constantly. So it's going to end up getting this full 40% from Well Fought Battle. It will end up getting this 52% effect from Mania. And then it will get this 14% from Mass Effect as well. Because you don't need to spam Mana Boil. You'll never actually run out of mana. So you'll get this, and like the total effect after all of this, what is this, 40, 52, about 100%, you're getting at least double this. That's 28%. You can see in the tests that I'm doing for all this stuff, this is still with a level 16 gem. So once this gets to level 20, like you'll notice the damage will go up by quite a lot. We can even kind of simulate this, showing like I'm using 2 + 4 candles right now, which effectively makes it level 20. If I were to swap these to the candles that you should be using for mapping, which are going to be these movement speed candles here that give you movement speed, skill area, and damage when you kill something. You'll see the damage will fall off a little bit, but that just goes to show you the potential of like actually once you get this build up and running to where it's supposed to be. For Frigid Transmission, you need added Fire, Mark, and Psychic Surge on there. I'm running a Blurry Steps. This is just for increased mapping. If you are trying to run something for bossing and you just wanted more damage, you could just turn this into any of the other Empower skills. Like you can put it on Fixate. You can swap it to like Arcane Circle, Secret Origin Unleash. Any of these will be fine. And then we have a Thundercloud setup here with added Erosion, added Lightning, High Voltage, and Crit Strike rating increase. We're running an Auto Defense setup here with Forced Start, and you want to put Electric Conversion in here as well onto your life. And then we have elemental resistance, elemental amplification, energy fortress, and swiftness. You can remove the swiftness. I just run it just for a little bit of extra movement speed. You can level these up if you want to. And then we have a curse on hit setup with biting cold, abysmal hatred, and steadfast. This steadfast, just run this as magical source if you don't have the other thing yet. If you don't end up having a laser caster shield, but these are really, really cheap, so it should be no problem to get one of these. Let's go ahead and show you guys. I guess the damage will fall off here a little bit if we take off the +4 and have the other wand on instead. But I mean, you can still see here we're doing about 100 million. This is still more than enough to do your T7 stuff. When we do actually get the proper procs with spell burst and everything lining up with the helmet, you are going to get those like bigger DPS boosts to kind of spike things up. But yeah, it's more than enough for kind of what you need to be doing or what you want to be doing or to get you started. And this is like the perfect still starter build to kind of get you up and running and actually farming some decent currency. So for the build itself, for the tree, you're going to basically just want to be going with this. You're picking up this like ES and stuff on the way. If you want more damage, you can pick up the crit strike instead. I just ended up picking up the ES just to make it a little more tanky. And then you take the sealed mana here. You are getting this focus blessing upon freeze because we do need this. And then we are taking this spell skill level here and this spell burst charge speed. And then you're taking beacon down here, and you are taking burning touch since the cold and fire gets kind of stacked over. We're going elementalist here. We're doing the same thing, taking the ES, taking the crit rating. The movement speed after channeling damage, things like this, and then we're just pushing into the lightning skill level here. This right here is where we're getting our tenacity and agility blessings, because whenever we freeze something with our focus, then we'll get that. As I level up, I would probably push this other ES or resistances, whatever I needed, to something else here. And then we are running Warlock, because we need to be running. You can run Prelude or Indifference. It's up to you. Like Prelude would actually be a little bit better damage, most likely. We can actually run this and actually do a test with it. This should be more damage just because we're constantly bouncing between the two anyways. Between Prelude or between Sparkle and our and Frigid Transmission here. So you should actually see a decent DPS boost out of this. I have my like skill effects turned down, so these are getting a little low, but can actually kind of get these to go up. And then in regards to the pets that I'm using, actually let me see what pets am I using. Yeah, we're just using DPS or loot pets here. Like this isn't even with damage pets. If you have spell like damage pets, you can get your damage even higher than this, but I'm presuming this is something for like a free-to-play player kind of setup where you're not going to have any pets really. So you can kind of run it off of this. And you're getting around 300 mil here. As you saw at the very beginning of the video, I got it up to 500 million, but like I know there's like some finicky stuff in regards to that. So like we're not going to try to rely on that and act like you're going to be able to do that every time. But I do know that there are ways to do it, like if you get like the sparkles lined up perfectly. But we'll call it 200 million to keep it safe here. And I don't want to bait anyone into thinking that you're going to get some extreme number out of things with such little investment. For your hero relic and memory, you do want one of these with +4 max focus, max fusion energy, or +3 if you can't get one. But even the +4s here, they're really, really cheap. They're like 6FE here. And then for your relics, you're typically looking for this. You want this max fusion energy effect. These are typically going to be pretty cheap as well. If we just look here for like the tier 2 value of this, they're probably going to be like 1FE, right? So you want these. If you can get it as tier 1, they are going to be a little bit more expensive, I think, but not by much. It doesn't really change things too much. If you bring it up to T1, it's still just going to be pretty cheap. And then you can get these whatever you can afford, whether it's movement speed or you can just get them with some extra spell damage here or crit damage, whatever you have. You can try the hero memory here. I don't know if it really matters because we're not really running any pen on anything right now. But you could try it. It might be worth it. It's only like 20 FE right now, so it might be worth messing around with. Yeah, let's go ahead and go over a map, and then I will leave you guys to it. You can use this. Highly recommend just using this to basically farm some money into going into some other builds. Like Milky has some good Gemma builds going on right now that are a little bit more expensive, but this is a good way to get yourself started before you transition into a more expensive build like his. So this is the T7 here on my favorite map here, Demiman Village. I do know that I spoke earlier in regards to like just focusing one map in T7, but I was just actually looking into things, and it looks like the 100% extra damage, the 100% additional loot is on every single map as long as you are chasing cards. So while you are trying to farm money, you are in a much better situation. It's highly recommended that you just focus on actually chasing the cards. Because of the amount of movement speed you have on this character, especially with the candles here that increase your movement and area speed here, you are actually really better off chasing the cards. So that's something I highly recommend you do. As we basically, you pretty much not even using Sparkle on here unless you run into a harder mob. I wanted to actually go back and do this here. You aren't actually using Sparkle at all unless you're running into a harder mob, because you have enough damage on everything else. Can't really do Godamite on this, so go ahead and avoid that. But let's place... Oh no, this missed. Alright, I'm gonna get greedy with City, but luckily with this, you're pretty off your... You don't have to do much in regards to like movement-wise. For the thing, you can do the circle mechanic pretty easy on this. You don't have to worry about much. You don't even really have to throw your sparkles. Again, you're pretty much killing things enough with Thundercloud for most things in T7. And then again, you have Sparkle for like harder things that you actually need to make them fall over or to kill them. But you pretty much don't need to use it. So it's not something you really need to worry about, but it is there in case you do want it. If you do not like using slower projectiles and you don't like having to hold things down, you can kind of go without it. That's fine. If you are looking for a defensive slate that's going to be really cheap, typically you can get something with kinetic conversion on it, which gives you a lot of extra defense because it gives you barrier every time you move 5 meters, which on this build, you know, you're constantly running around and you're constantly moving around. So you can use something like that if you want to have extra defenses than usual. But I mean, as you can see here, we're sitting at like 7,000 ES. You have like a decent amount of survivability compared to like the 2K ES version that we're, or 2K life version that we were running prior in prior leagues. So yeah, other than that, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And other than that, see you in the next one. One thing I did forget to go over earlier is you do need to roll base trauma on your belt or on your amulet here. You are getting, preferably if you can roll base trauma and base hero or base wilt on your neck, you're going to be better off. If you can't, if you don't end up rolling it on your neck, then you do end up needing to roll it here on Thundercloud. This is between the, you're getting the ignite from your frigid transmission, you're getting your erosion from Thundercloud, and then you're getting your trauma from your neck, and that's what you need to be doing in order to get full that's what you need to be doing in order to get full ailments on the enemy for the dirty tricks thing here. So make sure you go ahead and do that to ensure that you're getting the full 30% more damage out of this. And then yeah, I guess we got sidetracked here on the tree here. You do want to be running Prelude because we are kind of bouncing between using your main skill and not. For mapping, you can use Indifference as well, just because this is just going to make you teleport around a little bit faster, but you don't need to do it. It's kind of up to you. And then same thing for the tree here. We're just pushing over to this all this extra damage on ailment, some extra damage here, and then you're just picking up energy shield here. You do want to typically finish these nodes probably earlier if you're having any issues with dying, and then you want to fill out this +1 to all skills level, and that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave some footage here of the crafting process of the items that I did purchase and craft here if you want to watch them. Feel free to watch it over. I'm not really going to talk about anything while it's occurring, but you can kind of see the process of what I'm going for. You're pretty much just rolling for like anything decent early on when you can't really afford much. As you can afford more, then you can like look into trying to like fine tune a better